Like many ancient cultures, the oracle or priestess was seen as a conduit for the connection between the living and the dead, or gods and goddesses, like in the ancient world of the Egyptians, Greeks, and Aztecs, for example. In this episode, which I predict will be one of my favorite episodes by far, I will be talking about the ancient Greeks' oracle at Delphi and how the ability to receive messages from the beyond is still done today, thousands of years later. One of the most important things that I have been taught as a historian by my mentors is that it is our job to prove our points based on fact. However, there are times where we run into a mystery in our world history. How do we prove the power to connect to spiritual beings from the heavens? Scientists and even the military from different countries have actually been studying how someone could have the ability to connect to the unknown. In the ancient world, however, there were no reasons to doubt the oracles or priestesses and their abilities. Many of these women were born into the world of oracles and priestesses, while others felt that they would like to place their daughter in the hands of an oracle or priestess so that she would grow up with a spiritual mentor and one day become the priestess or oracle, such as in the ancient Aztec world. In the case of the oracle at Delphi, the oracle was chosen by the citizens of Delphi. The oracle was a priestess of the Greek god Apollo and were mostly older in age. They would have had to have lived a life of purity and had to be unmarried. They were not called oracle by their people. However, they were called the Pythia. So they were the Pythia of the god Apollo. The temple of the oracle is located on the slopes of Mount Parnassus, above the Corinthian Gulf. So how did the Pythia connect to the god Apollo? Scientists and archaeologists have found a possible cause for their ability to psychically connect to what the Pythia and her people believed was Apollo. The oracle is often depicted with the laurel bay leaf and surrounded by steam coming from beneath her. The oracle would chew on the laurel leaf, and while inhaling the steam, which was said to have been directly connected to the god Apollo himself, she would go into this trance and be shown visions in which she would share with the person she is working to get answers for. Typically, those that would seek her service were lawmakers, such as Cleisthenes, the father of democracy. We have democracy today because of Cleisthenes. It was highly likely that he would have consulted with the oracle at Delphi before introducing democracy to the Greeks. It was important decisions like these that lawmakers, emperors, and military leaders would flock to Pythia to ask for her advice and assistance. So what of those fumes Pythia was inhaling during her trance? According to geologists and archaeologists at science.org, they quote, "In the late 1990s, geologist Gilles Deboer of Wesleyan University in Middletown, Connecticut, suggested that two faults crossing directly under the temple could have been the source of the chasm and the vapors. Deboer's group found traces of ethylene, a central nervous system stimulant that can produce euphoria, in a local spring and concluded it was the likely source of the oracle's frenzied trances." Giuseppe Adiope of the National Institution of Geophysics and Volcanology in Rome, Italy, and his colleagues are skeptical though. They assert that the marine limestones underlining the temple couldn't have contained ethylene in high enough concentrations to account for the Pythia's trances or the sweet smells reported by Plutarch, a high priest of the temple in the 1st century. The team brought a portable laser sensor to Delphi and discovered no traces of ethylene. Other lab work turned up significant amounts of carbon dioxide and methane seeping from the ground in the area. Adiope's group suggested that if gas was having a neurotoxic effect on the prophetic women at Delphi, it was most likely carbon dioxide and methane causing oxygen deprivation in the enclosed temple chamber that was the source of the Pythia's inspiration. They speculate that the sweet smells Plutarch reported could have been from benzene, fumes coming from local springs, although they were not able to detect the gas. De Boer says ethylene is the strongest contender and that benzene is too toxic to be a good candidate. He states, "We all know how dangerous inhaling this gas is, and most Pythia would probably have died within a year after inhaling this gas." However, geologist Luigi Picardi of the National Research Council Institute of Geoscience and Georesources in Florence, who has also studied Delphi, agrees with Adipe that ethylene was probably not the culprit, but says more gas samplings need to be done before the case can be closed on any of the suspects. So as you can see, the cause for the trance state that the Pythia would be under is still unknown. However, I think we can all agree that there is something that is producing a high of some sorts. But what of the visions? What of the psychic connection? In other ancient and even present cultures today, such as the Native Americans, there are hallucinogenics that are used during spiritual practices in order to promote a spiritual connection to guides, in order to receive healing and advice of some sorts, to help the person in their journey in life. So my question is, what about the chewing of the laurel leaf? Could that have put the oracle in a trance, like the hallucinogenics used in ceremonies today by the Native Americans? After all, we cannot assume that the laurel bay leaf we use today for cooking was the same exact species of bay leaf Pythia used. For all we know, the leaf could have been more potent back then in the 4th to 8th centuries BCE. The oracle at Delphi, along with other ancient priestesses and oracles of the ancient world, are the first ever mediums in history. The practice of mediumship, meaning connecting to the other side with or without helpful ingredients, such as the bay leaf, is still done today. Mediums can be found at your local metaphysical shop or even on your TV, with TV shows such as TLC's Long Island Medium and Discovery Plus's Ghost Adventures, where a paranormal team ran by their leader Zach Pagans uses mediums to help connect to the spirits that haunt a certain location to try to help them cross over to the other side. During the Renaissance in France, we have the famous Nostradamus, who, according to History.com, was a 16th century French astrologer and physician whose prophecies earned him fame both during and after his lifetime. In the century since his death in 1566, people have credited Nostradamus with predicting pivotal events in history, from the French Revolution to the rise of Adolf Hitler to the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, and even the 2020 coronavirus pandemic. His book, The Prophecies, was published in 1555 and has since earned him worldwide fame. According to Nostradamus, the world is slated to end in the year 3797. His growing fame made him an in-demand ally of Europe's elite. Catherine de' Medici, the wife of King Henry II of France, was one of Nostradamus's greatest admirers. After reading his almanacs of 1555, where he hinted at unnamed threats to her family, she summoned him to Paris to explain and draw up horoscopes for her children. A few years later, she made him counselor and physician in ordinary to King Henry's court. For thousands of years, mediums like Pythia at Delphi have been around, and I really don't see that slowing down anytime soon. Actually, to the contrary, they continue to rise in popularity. So, what are your thoughts? Do you believe in the ability to connect to the other side and divine beings? Respectfully, let me know in the comment area down below. Well, listeners, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to royally hit that subscribe button, like and share this episode, and until next time, as always, keep loving history and stay curious. Bye.